Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube, and this week we're looking at proper hip position as you start your stroke. This has been a very common point that really leads to limited leg activation within your stroke, is paddlers will not adequately set up the position of their hips, which will put their torso in poor position, and it will limit the amount of leg drive that reaches the upper body. It is very subtle in the positioning, having your hip in good position versus having your hip in bad position. The hips are the gateway to connect your lower body to your upper body, and your overall posture increases this connectivity. Poor hip position and poor posture leads to very limited leg power reaching your hand. So it comes to a point of importance that if your hips and your posture are not very good, it does not matter what you do with your legs because it is not traveling through your body to power your hands, so you don't really need to use them. Positioning yourself in such a way means that you essentially become an arm paddler, and there's not much you can do to correct it unless you reassess your hip position and reassess your posture. So the easiest way to assess where your hip position is looking at your torso's position. The most common error that we see in the paddle stroke is that the torso comes forward too much this way. And as my torso goes forward, my hip is going to go back to make this work. If I have my hip go forward and my torso goes forward, I would come out of my seat. So the only way to stay in the seat and bring the torso forward like so is that my hips have to go back increasingly. The cue that we're looking for is bringing this hip forward as I go through. As my hip goes forward, my chest stays up. If my hip goes back, my torso is going to drop. And this is the distinction that we're looking for. When paddlers set up at the front of the stroke, if their torso comes down too much, it means that their hips are going back and they have now cut their body in half. Their lower body motion does not travel through the hips and through the body properly because of this, and my posture has broken. Bringing the hip forward brings the chest up, and this allows this connection from the lower body to reach the upper body much more effectively because this hip has traveled forward. There is a tilt that we're looking for. When I bring this hip forward, there is a little bit more range of motion I can do with my torso to place my weight onto my leg. If I lean too much and I break my posture to continue going forward, we'll see my hips go backwards to facilitate this, and all is lost between my lower body and upper body. Hip position going forward, the chest goes up, and then I can tilt. And this is the position that we want. So this cue of dropping the body down is very common in the world of dragon boat. We need to reach, drop, drop, and paddlers get into this really poor positioning at the front of the stroke. The combination of having 20 paddlers together in a very short distance sprint scenario means that the inefficiency of these movements is not immediately revealed. If all the people you're paddling with are using the same tactics as you, you do not get a showcase of differences leading to better results. And I have to point out, this is an older cue. If you watch Dragon Boat Worlds this cycle, you see much less and less of this motion going through the stroke, and you will see paddlers utilizing their rotation, utilizing their leverages, and utilizing their hips and posture much more. There are so many ideas that poor hip position lead to. It is a domino effect of negative things. In order for your torso to drop down and for you to not bury your blade a foot into the water, your hand now has to go way over your head to create extra space up here to allow extra space for your body to come forward. My hip is back. My legs are not engaged, my hip motion is not adequate. The muscles that I have to sit up are my hamstring, glutes, and lower back, which are very weak. And now that my legs are not helping with the stroke, it is only an arm paddle stroke that I have. It is a domino effect of positioning that leads to poor connection with the tool and with the stroke. Replacing the hip position forward maintains my posture, forces me to rotate, forces me to use my leg and connect my leg energy into my body. And now I need to reach the water. If my arm is overhead like so, I'm nowhere near the water. Having the arm a little bit lower now gives me more leverages to push with the top arm. as I set up the stroke from this position, everything is in order now to complete a much more powerful stroke, maintaining the posture, using the lower body, finding more top hand pressure. This domino effect that we're looking for leads to more and more positive results. So when we are looking for pathways to higher level performance, we want to change out some of our positioning and joints on how we're using them with unoptimal motion, like so, to optimal motion that is much more aggressive in nature and much more powerful. More power, more speed, a higher stroke rate, more muscles engaged, increased leverages. There are so many things that we can use to our advantage by simply putting this hip in good position at the front of the stroke, as opposed to pushing it back and disengaging it as we start a stroke. If the joint is not there for you when you begin, it is not there for you when you need it most, completing strokes and trying to go faster. Thank you all so much for checking out the video. If you need any more in-depth help on hip position and connecting all the joints together within the kinetic chain, check out the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com today. The online school is a very meticulously rubriced outline in numerical order. You start on video 1, progress your way through video 50, and you learn a ton along the way. We have all kinds of different subject matters, all of them relevant to making you faster. Work directly with a coach to make sure that you're making progress this year. I want to give a big shout out to all of our YouTube members. If you'd like to become a YouTube member, it is $2.99 a month right here on YouTube. You get to see these videos a bit early. If you would like me to come to your area and coach your team or your community or your group, feel free to reach out via email anytime. I am willing to come to you if you can help me organize the group. If you would like to come down to Hernando, Florida, we have all kinds of different equipment. I can give you paddles, boats, team structure, individual lessons, whatever you would like to do, we can facilitate that, especially in the winter time. If you're gonna come down and team paddle in Florida, think about Hernando. Thank you all so much for the ongoing support here on the YouTube channel. If there are any subject matters that you would like to see discussed, feel free to leave a comment or send an email. Thank you again, and we'll see you all next week for the next K2N paddle tip video.